Actually, when I was born, we were born in, I was born in single wide manufactured home in northern Alberta, north of Edmonton. I hear some Albertan or Canadian contingents out there, and we moved from northern Alberta, Peace River, to the lower mainland of BC, and then they got into the granola manufacturing business. So I got to see. We went from what I call rags to riches, and then my dad unfortunately lost everything because of the oil crash in 1980. So we went from rags to riches to sort of almost rags again. But I really enjoyed the entrepreneurial journey, and I got introduced to a lot of people as I was growing up that were in business, etc. So I was, from a young age, was reading books like. Well, my dad was a Dale Carnegie instructor, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and he used to bring. They did the songs, and so I was always hearing the songs and singing the songs with my dad. So a lot of this entrepreneurial stuff came really from my childhood.
That's amazing. And what was the lowest point in your life, and how would you say you overcame it?
Lowest point. So entrepreneurs, and you heard Naveen talk about the ups and downs. The heartbeat. Yeah, entrepreneurship is not all ups. You're out there trying to build something, and you got a lot of people that maybe invested in you or what have you to sort of do your different businesses. But I remember in about 96, 97. I was doing internet marketing really early on, and we were doing bulk email. So I was a spammer. I would admit, and the backbones of the internet actually were cutting off anybody who was sending bulk email. And that was actually a big. I was at the time I was making $15,000 a month in my PJs, and I say my PJs because some days I didn't get out of my PJs, and this was pretty cool until the backbone got cut, and for a while I literally, but for a few daars, I felt like weeks. I literally didn't want to get out of bed because like I had investors that invested in this and all the other stuff, and it all came figuring down. So that was probably I would say my lowest point, and then I literally had to ask the question if I wanted to go get a job or continue to be an entrepreneur. I was thinking, well, maybe I'll go to the safety of a job. And then I remember what my dad told me years before, which is that if you take a job, that's the most you'll ever make. And as an entrepreneur, there's unlimited potential. So I went back to the unlimited potential side of the equation.
And I'd say that was a great decision.
Yeah. it's working.
Yes. And that's why we're all here today, right, everyone? Do you have any regrets in life? And if yes, why?
Yes. Well, everybody has regrets. I definitely have regrets. There's stuff that even today, when I think about them, they still sort of internally embarrass me. So, by the way, I'm not going to share those. The reality is that they're I think as going through life, there are things that you do consciously, unconsciously. You go with the crowd, whatever, and then you come to regret some of those decisions because you weren't emotionally mature enough to at that point in life. I feel like that's just part of the journey. I feel like fortunately, the nice thing about being 55 years old is I'm not doing a lot of stuff that I'm going to regret in the future.
Absolutely, and I'm sure we all have some regrets, but we all learn from them, so that's the most amazing thing. So success means different things to different people. What does success mean to you, Glenn?
Success for me is the choice you make the moment you wake up in the morning. It's I think about success as somewhat of a mindset piece rather than something that's sort of outwardly. We think about, in some cases, we think about success as being a large amount of wealth and conspicuous consumption, and that's sort of the perceived, what's out there. I think about success as that it's, do you feel good about what you're bringing forth in the world? And if you do, then you're successful. Because it really doesn't matter what other people think. It really just it matters what you think. And to some extent, you can even go one level sort of better than that. It's really about being at peace with what is, and that's where success starts from. So for me, it's about really being centered, and then knowing that where you're at, there's always unlimited possibilities from that point. And so that for me, it's just success really starts as a mindset, and then eventually gets expressed in other ways.
What a great reminder. Just all begins with mindsets. And so what has surprised you the most about becoming a founder of EXP, would you say?
Well, how big it got. I see Rob here on the front row. I mean, I remember the day that Rob joined us, and he really brought an entirely different focus to the way the company's grown. And that was a pivotal day, and obviously Brent Gove and many other people that have come along as well. But I didn't expect us to be 85,000 agents at this point in time, the single largest real estate brokerage in the world, and I think
let's get our hands. Yeah.
I also think it would have been arrogant to think that when we started EXP as well, because we've all started businesses and they all look great on paper, and we always want to talk about who we're going to be as if it is in the present. I mean, that's part of sort of actualizing something, but to actually see it really happen, and it's so rare. I mean, I feel very very blessed, but also very lucky. The timing of things came together at exactly the right time. I mean, being a technology guy, and then we had a housing market that crashed, and we had high-speed internet had shown up by 2009. There were a number of things that came together, and I'd had experience in some different, we'll say, network marketing companies, which I really enjoyed, were very informative. So there were just a number of things that just kind of came together. And then since then, obviously, the amazing team that we built is, now I'm more just a person that the team asks from a vision perspective. What do I think about this? What do I think about that? Now it's like we've got well over 2,000 team behind the scenes helping make this work for the 85,000 agents and brokers. And so now it's literally how well it's running without me having to be day to day. I had to. By the way, I'm enjoying the heck out of it, but I had to jump into Success, which I'm now acting as the CEO of Success. I have the title, but now I'm actually doing the work of the CEO. But I love it because I'm being able to be an entrepreneur again, which I'd love to be able to roll my sleeves up and do those things as well. So getting to really sort of do that. And even there, we've got a great team. And so even there, I'm probably still more just visioning more than actually doing. So I'm not geeking out, I'm not building funnels. I'm sitting in front of the camera doing some video stuff, but we've got an amazing team there as well. So.
And I know everyone in this room is incredibly grateful that you built this company, but I was always curious, what would you be doing if you weren't building EXP?
Well, I'd be building something else. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur by nature. I actually love being an entrepreneur. For me, obviously we all want things to be successful. But as an entrepreneur, I think to some extent it's less about the success of the thing than it is the creating of the thing. So the creation process is in itself a big part of the reward, and so that's why I'm focusing on success, is because there's a creation piece, and so there's figuring out how that artistic stuff comes together, and part of the art is the financial portion of it, but it's figuring out how it all fits together and how it all pieces together and how it can impact people's lives.
And what would you say some of your greatest gifts have you received in your life, and how did they make you who you are today?
So, I probably, just being around positive people who gave me positive insights into things. So, I just shared this same thought with somebody the other day. They were struggling as an entrepreneur and they're worried about financial stuff and some debt and some other things. I said, well, the nice thing, this